I'd like to call this work session meeting to order at 6:08 p.m. on November the 7th. And I'd like everybody to please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. We'd like to bring up our first presentation this evening about energy performance contracts that the board has been looking into. We have John Grillo here to thank you, John.
You want me to stand up front or?
No, I push up wherever you are.
Good, yeah?
Yeah, whatever you're good with.
If
John.
you want to be
Wherever
close, you can be close,
You
otherwise.
tell me where to go.
Wherever you want, that's never a problem.
I just falling.
Yeah.
You're so far away though. You're so far away. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. I'm going to talk about energy performance contracts and the process that goes involved with such a project. Energy performance contract is just another way for a school district to complete capital projects without the use of public funded money or without the need for a public vote. What we have to remember, though, is all of the projects that we want to include in an ESCO has to save the district energy in terms of oil, gas, and or electric. So the way you pay for an energy performance contract is from your building aid that we receive as a school district, plus the guaranteed energy savings that the company that's going to do the work is going to promise you that you will save on a yearly basis. There is also a third, which is very recent, which is the IRA rebate, which is additional funds that the school district can get for the Reduction Act, the Federal Reduction Act. So a lot of our clients are looking at this, Nassau and Suffolk County. What can we do? We always want to try to save money, save energy, consume less energy, and how can we do that to reduce our bills? So this is just a myriad of possible energy projects that we could undertake here in the district. I broke them down to the 15 or 16 different possible projects, anywhere from some simple things, and the most straightforward would be lighting and lighting controls in all of the buildings, inside and outside. Upgrade all our fluorescent lighting to LED, improve the lighting controls. So for example, in a room like this, it would be redesigned so maybe this row of lights on a sunny day wouldn't need to turn on because you get the natural light from the window, and then so on as you move further away. Things like solar is always a big topic. We've done solar carports as well as roof-mounted solar. So we would have to take a look here specifically if we wanted to look at the carport option. Another option here, especially at this building, and I'll get to in a second, is on our sloped roofs. If we don't want to put solar in the front view here, because people will pull up and they'll see the solar, and some people don't think it's that sightly, we could do it on the backside. So there are other items here: plug load controllers, some boiler components, refrigeration control, some of the little things that save money that you can look at. Steam trap replacement at center. We used to replace steam traps here at the high school, but since we went from steam to hot water, we don't have to worry about that anymore. And just some pictures, some different ideas. That's the attic at center, uninsulated. So we could insulate the attic with blown-in insulation at center. We could also do it at this building as well. The insulation up there is there, but it's not where it should be. We could increase the R value in the insulation up at the secondary school as well. So some options. Way back when, right before Hurricane Sandy, we were going to put an RFP out for energy performance contracting. And one of the projects we were looking at was the 67 wing. That's the only wing that we hadn't replaced the roof on over the years. The main wing and the gym wing were replaced with a synthetic slate with a 50-year warranty. And this was the last wing we could do. So we could do one of two things. We could replace it with a synthetic slate roof so it matches the other. And then you can actually put solar panels on top of the roof, similar to what you would see maybe on your house, but you could put it on both sides. Or, and I have to do a little bit more research, I've only done it once, is the synthetic slate that has built-in solar into it. I want to see if that is as efficient as a regular solar panel that's mounted onto the roof. We want to take a look at that. There is a little bit of an opportunity on a flat roof in the back by the gym, but very little real estate for solar at the elementary schools in terms of on the roof. Rain, because we put a lot of the other rooftop units, plus the gym unit that we just installed. It also has parapet walls. So that's the wall that comes up higher than the roof line, adds a little bit more shadow. So it really reduces the amount of real estate we have to put anything substantial there. And the same thing with center. The main flat roof on the back has a parapet wall as well. You could look at carports. I just don't know if those two schools, being in the neighborhood setting, I don't know how the neighbors would feel with the solar carports in the back parking lots of the two buildings. So again, some of the basic solutions here: LED lighting, building management system, upgrade the building management system, and solar. Those would be the three main components we would look at here. The other project we would ask the contractors to take a look at to see, but the main ones that we would want to focus on would be, in my opinion, would be solar, building management, lighting, and lighting controls. Those are going to be the big payback numbers. So what's the next step if the board decides to go forward? And remember, an energy performance contract is no cost to the district. So the contractor that's doing the work also pays the architect and engineering fees. So there is no out-of-pocket expense for a school district. So going through all these next steps doesn't cost the district a penny. At the end of the day, we could say, you know what? Thanks, but no thanks. We're gonna do it the old-fashioned way. We're gonna do capital projects through a budget, that kind of thing. So you would authorize me to start what's called an RFP. I would put together a document that would be solicited out to the different ESCO companies to pick up. Prior to doing that, I would meet and walk the district again with James Daly, make sure we have all of this energy savings items that he may want to see included in the document. Then we would also, before it goes out, we would send it to your attorney. Have the attorneys take a look, make sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. The RFP is probably out for 6 to 8 weeks, because unlike a capital project where the architect tells all the contractors what we're bidding on. So for example, if we were renovating this room, we would specify the flooring and the ceiling and the lighting, and all the contractors would bid on the same thing. But on an ESCO, because it's a request for proposal and it's not the lowest responsible bidder, each vendor that picks up the plans and presents a plan to the Board of Education, they might have different ideas. They may think more lighting here, less lighting here, more solar here, more insulation or boiler replacements. So you're not going to see apples and apples. If we get 3 or 4 responses, chances are they're not going to be identical. So we have to give them a little bit more time to walk the district, get into the boiler rooms, get into the attics, look around, and do their information before they submit the RFP. So the process takes about 6 to 8 weeks, as opposed to a capital project where it's out to bid for maybe 2 or 3 weeks at the most. We would then, once we receive the responses, we would review them with the administration and hold interviews with the potential players in the game. We would then make the presentation to the board along with the energy performance company that we would recommend to the board to move forward. From there, we would then begin, my firm would then begin to design the plans and specs with the assistance of the ESCO. They would be submitted to the state education department for review, just like a capital project. But the difference here is we want to not only make sure it meets building code, we want to make sure that what the ESCO is telling us, we're going to save $200,000 a year. The state education department is going to look and verify the numbers that the contractors are saying that you're going to save. So they could say if you turn off the lights at a certain hour, they want to make sure that, again, it's the same thing. Like if they say the runtime on a classroom is 3,000 hours a year, we know they're not telling the truth in terms of the number. It's well under 2,000 hours a year that is average for when classroom lights are on. So they'll go through that. They want to make sure we can match the energy savings as well as meet the building code. From there, we would then work with the district and the ESCO and put an RFP out to banks, because we'd still have to fund the project. So we would put an RFP out for the banks. they would lend us the money, and our yearly payment to the bank has to be less than the guaranteed energy savings and the state building aid on a yearly basis. This way, we're always cash positive. Now, the ESCO has to pay for itself in 18 years or less. So for any one of those 18 years, if we're going to be cash negative, I'm not going to recommend the board move forward. We want to make sure that if we're going to do a project that is an ESCO that's going to save the district money, we want to make sure you're cash positive from year 1 all the way to year 18. Now, we also have to, because sometimes your building aid is only 15 years. So we're going to get building aid back for the first 15 years. The last 3 years are only the guaranteed energy savings. So sometimes we may even want to ask the ESCOs to match our building aid. And maybe we say, give us a capital project that doesn't exceed 15 years in length. So just in case at the very end, we run a little short because we're losing that building aid, we're only going to get our guaranteed energy savings. And once we get it approved from the state, we get the banks to agree and to move forward with the RFP on the banks, it's probably about a year construction, depending on what the final projects are. But it's roughly a year in terms of all of the capital projects that we'll be doing here. And that is my short and sweet PowerPoint. And I would love to, any questions from the Board of Ed or?
John, you're very specific, and we've been talking about this for several years, as you know, going forward with this, and we've waited for after the bond, and now it seems to be a good time to start moving forward. And the best part of what you said is that at the end of looking into this, if we weren't satisfied, then we don't do it. There's no cost at all to inspect the
Okay.
That's the way we want to go. So.
And I would not recommend to you guys at all to do anything that's not fully cash positive or the best interest of the district.